Star 99.9, this is Jon Kamal from the Anna and Raven Show. We are at Park City Music Hall in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And I'm hanging out with two gentlemen who are going to be playing at the Toyota Oakdale Theater tonight. Joel and Luke, you guys are for King and Country. Thank you guys for being here.
The question is, who is the king and who is the country?
That was actually going to be part of the question. Actually, my big question with your name is the way you guys stylize it, right? So it's for lowercase, and then King and Country full,
just
like
all capitals.
All capital.
I think the better question would be, who do you think is the king in the country? You know what I'm saying? Because
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know. I
because
mean,
you ask us a lot of questions. Maybe
Right.
we want to spin it back around the other way.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're taller, and that is a bit of a regal thing. But then again, I also think landmass. I think large landmass ruled by a king potentially. So is it King and Country?
Yeah, he's
know.
onto something.
You're onto
I don't
something,
know.
man.
We're just actually following the Anna and Raven show because like the is small, Anna's big, Raven's big. You know.
You know, it's not often when I'm doing these things that I get a shout out from the actual artist itself. So that's a first. Thank you, gentlemen, for that.
Pleasure.
Now, you guys come from a musical family. Your sister, Rebecca St. James, you guys came up playing music together. When did you guys decide to start writing, with just the two of you?
It was, well, we didn't get along growing up. So Luke and I are 2 of 7 kids, 5 boys, 2 girls. And speaking of height, we were talking about height off air. Sure. I'm the older brother. And he eclipsed me by like 4 inches. He's a better sportsman. And he's a better singer. And so it was all the makings for resentment for an older brother. So we didn't get along in our teenage years. And then actually our dad, who I think you met earlier, who's here, he manages us.
Yeah.
And
wait, that was your dad?
That's our dad. Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking I'm just talking to your manager, and that is in fact your dad.
Yep, he's a dadager. It's a true story.
Mind blown.
Not with all of the hopefully the negative connotations that go along with that.
I didn't get any from the conversation. So yeah, no.
So he's a great man, but he came to and said, look, because I was trying to do a solo thing. He's like, hey, I think you should do something with your brother. And I was like, no, I don't think so.
Like, well, not only coming from your manager, but now it's coming from your dad. So
as well.
All the reasons.
So and then I was like, well, maybe he could just be the drummer. And he's like, no, I think it needs to be a duet thing. So after a couple of months, Luke is a great sportsman. Like I said, he torn his ACL. Junior year, first game of his junior year. And he was listening to a load of music as he rehabbed, like Switchfoot and Goo Goo Dolls and so on. Yeah. And so he sort of fell in love with music there. And then I went to him and said, hey, what if we just try our hand at writing a few songs, sort of to appease Dad. And then music not only brought us back together, we kind of became best mates and thick as thieves, great partners. But from that day to this, we just haven't stopped. Here we are.
That's incredible, man. You're a victim of your own success. Look at that. Well done.
I don't know if that's true, but I like the way you say it.
Well, I love the way you guys write because it's a blend. It's a blend of pop. There's gospel in there. There's also a big country influence. So you guys grew up in Australia, moved to Nashville. What I'm wondering is, was the country influence kind of always there, or was that the Nashville influence that kind of took you in that direction?
I think it would be. We'd be lies if we didn't say it was the country influence of just being in Nashville. One of the things I think that people forget is probably the way that we think through stories and we think through songs is probably the songwriting mechanism of country music. Obviously, there's a lot of country music. I didn't grow up listening to country music, neither did Joel, but we started writing with a lot of songwriters that were obviously writing country music. And I think that one of the things that they do very well that pop, it's for the most part about the feel. It's for the most part, it's about the way that the way that it transmits to you. If it makes you happy or feel whatever, it's a hit. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And in Nashville, it's about the journey of the song. Does it actually take you to an emotional and spiritual depth? Can it affect your heart? Can it affect, not just make you feel good for the moment, but do you actually still think about the song, after it's been played, 3 or 4 hours earlier? I think that's the effect that good songwriting, especially coming from Nashville, takes. And I hope that it's rubbed off on us a little bit, and maybe hopefully we've rubbed off on them a little bit.
And let's face it, John, Australia is like the deep south.
Yes. Okay.
So it's like Nashville, it's all country, right? It's all country music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's, very well said by the country of the King and Country as well. So
there we go.
We have country in our band name after all.
You do, exactly. It's right there. And your faith too is a big part of your sound. Has there ever been pressure from yourselves or from outside influences to kind of write in a more secular way, or is it just inextricable from the way that you guys write music?
It is interesting being immigrants because America has something that I don't think any other country in the world has. Like you have this religious kind of infrastructure here. Even in Australia, it's not like we have Hillsong Church, or we have these like little pockets of like Christianity or religion, but it's very different. And so for us, faith, Jesus has been just written into our heritage, and it's something that we sort of stand by as individuals. So inherently, again, you're right, honestly, it finds itself into the music. But we feel very free, honestly, Jon, as writers. I think we feel free to write about our first record had a bunch of breakup songs on it because I was walking through a really bad breakup. And
you poor thing.
Thank you so much. And then there's all of these great sort of love songs that we've been able to write for our wives. And then there are sort of these, interwoven with these gospel songs, as you said. And this last record, What Are We Waiting For, is a lot of social commentary because we wrote it in the midst of the pandemic. And so we feel actually liberated because on the other side of the street, in sort of a mainstream sense, it's like, hey, you got sort of a lot of our buddies in that world have a sense of faith, but it's like you could, wiggle a song or two in.
Yeah.
Whereas for us, we can just kind of write here, there, and everywhere, and it feels accepted, And so, I think we feel less like we're put in a box and more like we can be liberated. And there are those moments where you feel like everyone wants to find some slot to put you in.
Yes. No, of course. Especially in this business, I'm sure.
So we fight that a bit, but I actually find that fun. Like doing a feature with Timbaland or doing a feature with Dolly. It's like, how can you break this thing up so you're not just playing into some sort of stereotype?
And I love that you pointed that out because being able to be a band that does songs with Dolly Parton and Timbaland is like, that's the definition of range right there.
Right.
I love that. You guys have such an incredible story, though. We talked about, your dad, who's also your manager, your sister, coming up as this big musical family and really making a living out of it. Now, you guys are documenting this, or I'm sorry, not documenting. You filmed the story of your life in a movie that's going to be coming out soon. And I want to make it clear, this is not a documentary. This is a real movie. Tell me about that. Tell me about the writing, the recorded, anything that comes to mind, because I find this fascinating.
Yeah, it was about 2.5, 3 years ago now, and we've spoken about obviously our story and our journey in interviews and concerts for years, and we've had so many people come up to us as like, man, it's similar to you. Like, man, that's a wonderful story. You should write a book or something. And I think for us, we kind of grew up making movies and different things, and seeing the story resonate, we had to kind of separate ourselves from our own individual story a little bit and say, man, is it just me, or is this story that, though we really have lived, but our parents really have lived, is it actually a story that is a movie? And as we went and developed the script and worked on it, we came to the conclusion of, we may be a little bit close to this in some cases, and close in a great way to where we can now separate ourselves and say, man, this is a story that needs to be told. It's a story of, when you lose everything as a 40-year-old man, and you've got 6 kids, and you decide to move countries, the struggles and pitfalls that you're going to go through as a family is astounding. And that's what we lived. We lived out these very, very difficult journeys of sleeping on beds made out of clothes when we first moved to America. We had people, we didn't have a car. We had people give us a car the first day they met us. We'd have groceries that would show up on our doorsteps. We had, our little sister was born in a hospital, and obviously hospitals are expensive.
Yes.
And one day called to make a payment, and the person said, hey, your bill has been paid in full, and we don't know who that is to this day. Extraordinary things taking place. And so we got to this point of saying, man, I think we need to make this into a movie. And so we went into production of it last October. We're in the editorial process right now, and hopefully it'll be coming to theaters top of next year, February, March of next year. And it's an exciting thing. We view it as a little bit of in some cases, a story obviously that just needs to be told about a family, but it's a little bit of an honor project to our parents as well.
I bet, absolutely. And you know what? I said I'd keep you guys for 5 minutes. I've certainly exceeded that. I want to get you guys out there. I want to get you guys playing pretty soon. My one thing that came to mind, 'cause a bunch of interviews I watched with you guys. You guys obviously have dynamite American accents that you can put on a dime. What is the dumbest Australian stereotype that you've ever heard from an American? That one that you're just so tired of.
I think that they think that the crocodile hunter is like everyone's cousin.
Right. And he actually literally, we have a crocodile hunter type cousin actually that is he'll just go on walkabout for 3 or 4 days. So
Does he
it's
have the
half
knife? Does he
true.
does he
That's
do the knife
one.
thing? Yeah.
That's the one I was going to say, John. It's the Crocodile Dundee. Actually, you can thank Paul Hogan for this. It's the that's not a knife. Here's a knife thing. Like I think everyone thinks we're walking around with like snake leather pants on and some sort of 10-inch knife.
Thank you so much for giving me the soundbite of you saying that's not a knife. This is a knife, though.
That's what you
I'm sure that
needed.
was
That's what
really
you wanted.
It's going to be on your board from every morning show. From
That's
here on,
not
yeah.
a knife.
Oh my god, this
it
is
is.
a knife.
It's actually here's a knife.
Here's
if you're gonna, and you. That's the other thing. You guys
Misquoted.
quote it, but
It's
you
a misquoted.
misquote it all the time
It's a
too.
Mandela effect.
It's that's
a
not a
Mandela
knife.
effect.
Here's a knife.
You guys are the absolute best. For King and Country at the Toyota Oakdale Theater tonight, performing a private acoustic set right now in just a couple of minutes at Park City Music Hall in Bridgeport. Joel, Luke, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for
Good
the time.
man,
It's been
Johnny.
a pleasure. Thank you.
From the King and the Country.